It's easy to forget that in the 1980s there were many toy lines all competing for the top spot. For every G.I. Joe, there was Eagle Force. For every Masters of the Universe, there were Warrior Beasts and Remco Warlord. That's not to say any of these toy lines are bad. In fact, most of them are pretty good. I prefer Remco Warlord over Masters of the Universe. But after 40 plus years, only the top dogs remain in pop culture. G.I. Joe, Transformers, and, of course, Masters of the Universe. Despite fading into history, these toy lines still accumulate a fan base, a cult fandom even. And one of the most vocal cult fandoms is that of Kenner M.A.S.K, Mobile Armored Strike Command with a K. Today we're looking at the M.A.S.K Condor from the inaugural 1985 wave of M.A.S.K vehicles. M.A.S.K set itself apart on the toy aisle as it was a smaller scale figure paired with a vehicle. These are much smaller than classic 3 3/4 inch action figures and bounce between Dino Riders and Power Master size. Not Transformers Power Masters, but Lionel Power Masters. Bet you haven't even heard of those guys. So, our pilot clad in bright yellow is Brad Chopper Turner, rockstar turned vigilante. And you know what? I see the rockstar vibes. He's got these sweet shades that kind of make him look like a clone of Roy Orbison. The conceit of M.A.S.K is that we have the Mobile Armored Strike Command, a team of commandos led by billionaire philanthropist playboy Matt Tracker, not related to Bruce Wayne or Cranston Lamont. Their goal is to stop a terrorist organization, Venom, vicious evil network of mayhem, named after Miles Mayhem, because the man knows branding. There are two major things that separate M.A.S.K from your average Airwolf team, one of which is the fact that they have masks. Well, helmets really. These give our riders techno-nonsense powers that enhance their abilities. In Brad Turner's case, he has the Hocus Pocus mask, which allows him to project illusions and mirages. The masks, or helmet accessories, are a little bit of a point of contention. You see, the first series of M.A.S.K figures had much smaller, much finer detailed masks. The issue is, they were massive choking hazards. After a few reported cases, Kenner went back to the drawing board and actually reissued Series 1 with new, modified masks. These were larger and had holes in them, so, people wouldn't choke on them as much. The Brad Turner we have here is actually an earlier version with the smaller Hocus Pocus mask. Overall, as a minifigure, I actually really like Brad. I think the yellow and maroon is a good color combo, and he kind of reminds me of when Marty McFly dressed up as Darth Vader. But what is a biker without a motorcycle? And Brad comes with the Condor. The Condor is a bright green, kind of Kawasaki crotch rocket style bike. However, it is a little bigger than average. He actually sits in the motorcycle, and instead of having a yoke or handlebars, it has a big techno-nonsense computer keypad. I like the big stickers. It's always a good addition in 80s toys to have big techno-nonsense stickers, in my opinion. But we said there was one other thing that set M.A.S.K apart from Airwolf, and that is the fact that their vehicles transform. Can we say transform? This is Kenner, not Hasbro. Their vehicles convert. The black railing on the side of the motorcycle detaches and flips upward, becoming propellers. The entire rear begins to shift upward and folds down landing skids. And then finally the rear wheel folds up and becomes a stabilizer. This is the helicopter mode of the Condor, and it is really cute. I like it a lot. It's definitely a little slapdash. It's no chitty chitty bang bang, but it's got a certain charm to it. The motorcycle silhouette in general flows very nicely into a helicopter silhouette, and it has a nice gyrocopter feel. It definitely reminds me of the gyrocopter from Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. It's a fun little conversion. My only real criticism, for lack of a better term, is that I wish that front wheel did something extra. Just an extra transformation step to slim down that profile a little bit more. As is, though, the Condor is a really good entry point into M.A.S.K. It's essentially fun-sized M.A.S.K. It doesn't have the big springs, bells, and whistles of the larger vehicles, but it has a tight, fun transformation that really does give you a nice silhouette shift from the motorcycle to helicopter. I think the Condor is really fondly remembered because of that. It's not the big flagship like Boulder Mountain, and it wasn't the main hero vehicle like the Thunderhawk. It was the easy point of entry. Most people had this growing up, and they probably didn't have many other M.A.S.K toys. This was the one. And honestly, I think if there was one to get, it's probably the Condor. It's fun, it's small, it's compact. It plays well with a lot of other toys. It has a great silhouette. Personally speaking, I would actually say it's my favorite M.A.S.K toy. But despite its innovative play pattern and eye-catching vehicles, M.A.S.K has definitely been forgotten. Part of which being the fact that Kenner has been bought by Hasbro, and the other fact being that it's a fairly cumbersome toy line. In the modern day, you can't really do 6-inch action figures with scaled vehicles that have springs and bells and whistles in them. That being said though, the original toy line is fondly remembered, and despite not fitting into modern play pattern aesthetics, Hasbro still has thrown a bone here and there to M.A.S.K fans. Matt Tracker did get a figure in the 25th anniversary G.I. Joe range, and the M.A.S.K franchise as a whole has been referenced in both Transformers Prime, as well as getting a small revival in the IDW Comics range. M.A.S.K was inserted into the IDW Transformers continuity as part of a large crossover event called Revolution, where M.A.S.K, G.I. Joe, Micronauts, Action Man, and the Visionaries would all interact and become part of the same shared universe. The issue is, however, despite all being owned by the same company, Transformers and G.I. Joe vastly overshadow all of the other properties. Despite a loyal fandom and its cult classic status, M.A.S.K has an uphill battle if it ever wants to get out of the shadow of Transformers and the real American heroes.